sit quietly for a few minutes before we head off to our work scene. Yesterday, Beth's story about just the person in the vehicle parked next to her, just sort of making the comment that she was just wanting to watch her mind and not believe it, and just seeing examples of that, of where people are aware of Dhamma in some level. Maybe they don't call it that, or but they kind of see a value in Dhamma, and just in truth, and you kind of intuitively can get it that life is unstable and uncertain, that there is a different reality than what the world presents, and just kind of having that in the back of my mind, what Beth had said yesterday about that encounter. And then she handed me a letter from my father. I could immediately tell it's from my father because the handwriting on the outside. And probably maybe the third letter in my life I've ever received from him. So I was kind of like, oh, I wonder what this is about. And wasn't expecting anything from him. And opened it up, and it was his kind of his will, his last testament of what he wants done with his ashes and his remains, and it's just really sweet. Getting this letter out of the blue from your father saying, my health is fine right now. I'm not planning to die. Don't worry, but at least not immediately. But I'm of the age where I need to think about these things, and when I do pass away, I want this done to my body. There's these possessions that he wants I'm the youngest of three children, so like my siblings and myself, he's got a few things that he wants us to sort of to have as memorabilia and to remember him by, and it kind of a sobering, sort of experience, just sitting down and not knowing what the letter was going to be, and then it's somebody's wishes for what happens to them after they pass away, and. So it was quite easy to contemplate that, to be thinking about that for the rest of the day. That, not only is my father going to die, my mother's going to die, but I'm going to die. Everyone in this room is going to die. And it's like when you contemplate that, it's like all the little, even the big petty things that we get caught up in. Having an agenda, having a view or opinion, or wanting things to be done a particular way, having maybe having the right idea about the way a particular project goes, or what should or shouldn't be done. But in the long run, it doesn't matter at all. It's all when. I was pointing out to somebody last week something to the effect of like just various people who've been living here in the past. If there's 5 people on a work scene, there's probably at least 25 different opinions about the way the project can be done. And when I was the work monk, my view was at the time was we don't have much money, so let's just use materials we have on the property, and if it's to store firewood, well, let's just make it last for 5-10 years, and that'll be fine. And another monk who was the work monk for a while was of the opinion that if we're going to use materials, we should honor the people's generosity, and so we should make it last for 50 years or 100 years. And so he built things with concrete pads and metal roofs, and for the same thing, for a storage shed for wood, and one's just slightly different values, and if I really clung to my view that no, we shouldn't buy anything, then I could really suffer. But if he had the view that you're wasting people's efforts and time, then he could really suffer. And so it's just really just sort of just really seeing that just how can you come to a conclusion, how can you come to a agreement about the way things are done, how we proceed, in a harmonious way, because that's what's the most important thing about the whole practice we're doing is, especially like on the work scenes, like what are you learning about your own mind? What do you, what's happening to your sila, to your concentration, to your mindfulness, your wisdom? Are we growing in these things, or are we just perpetuating a habit that we already have? And if we're just perpetuating it, like in morning meditation or meditation, it's like if our tendency is to nod off and to go to sleep, it's like if we just give in to that, that's what we're cultivating. We're actually cultivating a mind that will, next time we're in that similar situation, we'll just go to sleep. So it's learning to put forth effort and to see what we value, and just to realize that that's the most important thing. The work project isn't that important. It's probably won't last even as long as you're alive, probably. Like all those structures that I built to last 5 or 10 years. That's how long they lasted, and most of them aren't here anymore. So if I suffered about making them, then it was completely pointless. So I'll leave that for our reflection this morning.